never laugh as a hearse goes by, for you may be the next to die. They wrap you up in bloody sheets to drop you 6 feet underneath. They put you in a pine wood box and cover you up with dirt and rocks. It all goes well for about a week, and then your coffin begins to leak, and the worms crawl in, the worms crawl out, the worms play pinochle on your snout. They eat your eyes, they eat your nose as you begin to decompose. A slimy beetle with demon's eyes chews through your stomach and out your sides. Your stomach turns to rancid grease, and pus pours out like melted cheese. You spread it on a slice of bread, and that's what you'll eat when you're dead. And the worms crawl out, the worms crawl in, the worms that crawl in are lean and thin, the ones that crawl out are fat and stout. Your eyes fall in and your hair falls out. Your brain turns into maggot pie. Your liver starts to liquefy. And for the living all is well as you sink further into hell. And the flames rise up to drag you down into the fire where you will drown. Your skin melts off as you descend, and Satan tears you limb from limb. Your suffering will never end. And the worms crawl in, the worms crawl out. They'll eat your guts and then shit them out. And when your bones begin to rot, the worms remain, but you do not. So don't ever laugh as a hearse goes by, for someday you'll be the one to die. And when death brings his cold despair, ask yourself, will anyone care? Don't ever laugh as a hearse goes by, for you may be the next to die. They wrap you up in bloody sheets to drop you 6 feet underneath. They put you in a pine wood box and cover you up with dirt and rocks. It all goes well for about a week, and then your coffin begins to leak, and the worms crawl in, the worms crawl out, the worms play pinochle on your snout. They eat your eyes, they eat your nose as you begin to decompose. A slimy beetle with demon's eyes chews through your stomach and out your sides. Your stomach turns to rancid grease, and pus pours out like melted cheese. You spread it on a slice of bread, and that's what you'll eat when you're dead. And the worms crawl out, the worms crawl in, the worms that crawl in are lean and thin, the ones that crawl out are fat and stout. Your eyes fall in and your hair falls out. Your brain turns into maggot pie. Your liver starts to liquefy. And for the living all is well as you sink further into hell. And the flames rise up to drag you down into the fire where you will drown. Your skin melts off as you descend, and Satan tears you limb from limb. Your suffering will never end. And the worms crawl in, the worms crawl out. They'll eat your guts and then shit them out. And when your bones begin to rot, the worms remain, but you do not. So don't ever laugh as a hearse.
All right. Let's get ready to get started here. Let me bring that down. I guess before I do anything, let me fix that. Bring the music down a little bit. How you guys doing tonight? Let me see, who all do we got here? See, we got Ty, the first one in. What's going on, Devin? What's going on, Kat? What's going on, Lucas? What's going on, Nicholas? Alessandro, nice to see you in here as well. Nice. What's going on, Haley? What's going on, Ranger? What's going on, Garrett? I see Devin part 2. What's going on, Paris? What's going on, Nightmare? Evil Dead share? I have some pictures already that was to be shared tonight. Unfortunately, some of them do not have anything to do with Evil Dead, but I am going to be sharing that over the course of what we do with the TV series. So I'm still stockpiling pictures. And like I said, just because I don't share anything that you sent me from the last time doesn't mean it's not going to get shared yet. It's all going to get shared. I just have a bunch of stuff that I've had that I wanted to share before I start getting to a lot of stuff. So that's why I say, send me everything. Eventually, everything's going to get shared. It's always good to have a surplus of things to share. I saw the pictures, Nightmare. Yeah, no bandana. I've been meaning to get the haircut and got tired of dealing with the hair, so just lopped it all off and no bandana tonight. Oh, your play. This is just your new account. Okay. Why no foot reveal? I didn't know that was something you guys wanted to see. I might have to start a Patreon for that one. Like we get enough super chats, I'll give you one toe. After so many more super chats, you might get all 5 toes. A couple more super chats after that. Yeah, if I can speak. After that, then you get the whole foot. And the boomstick. That sounds dirty. Foot reveal and a boomstick. That sounds like you're leading somewhere, Haley. Grousey.
Don't ever laugh as a hearse goes by, for you may be the next.
Oh my gosh. Let me take down the music a little bit. And you know what? I'll start some of the share. Matter of fact, let me, because I don't even have my movie queued up yet. So let me remedy that real quick. There we go. We got the movie queued up, so we're good on that. Let me pull up some stuff real quick. As a matter of fact, Paris, I'll add something from you. Feel free to send me one picture that you want for tonight's share. Like, pick out one picture that you want shared, and I'll share it along with everybody else. Because, I mean, it is Army of Darkness, and very little of what I had to share. Ooh, might need dusting. Very little of what I had to share is anything Evil Dead for this round. I have some Evil Dead stuff to share that I was trying to save over the course of the TV show. But yeah, I got something from Nightmare I'm going to share. I only shared one picture from Nightmare, or I'm going to. And I'll share one thing of yours, Paris. Yeah, Nightmare. That's the one I'm sharing. Almost feels weird. I'm like looking at the screen and not seeing the bandana on. It's kind of off-putting. Your Ride the Lightning 96 on Discord. I thought that was you, Garrett. I saw the drawings that you said. You said you had those commissioned, or you were commissioned to do them? I got it. I got you, Paris. I saw it when it came in. I mean, as far as I know, Nicholas, the whole show is supposed to be canon, which is the whole purpose of Ash being involved in it. Now, with most mediums, they can go back and render it non-canon, but with that being Bruce Campbell's last real hurrah in the role, at least as far as we know, it's very unlikely that they're going to scale that back. Funny, Ty. Very funny. All getting on the bald head, man. I had to go back to the James Jude Courtney look. Hey, what's going on, Travion? How you doing? All right. So the first person I wanted to share, I've been wanting to share this person for a while, and for some reason, her pictures kept getting mixed up in the shuffle, and I've been meaning to do it for like I said, like a long time. It was supposed to be one of my first real organized shares, but I'm gonna do it first now just to make sure that I get it in there. So first we have, she also has a YouTube channel as well. Be sure to check out. She does like makeup and all kinds of stuff. I'll be posting a link to that and her Instagram. Or maybe one, because one could lead you to the other. So you never know. But this is her Pennywise. Her female Pennywise. She goes by the name Lipstick and Roses. At least on Instagram. I think it's the same name on YouTube as well. Let me actually blow that up so you guys can see that. Got the makeup awesomely done. Got the nice sharp teeth. Oh. I'm getting messages and shit. Alright. But yeah. Lipstick and Rose. I mean, I've had a couple of brief interactions with her on Instagram. Very nice person. Awesome cosplays across the board. She does some interesting takes with the Jason hockey mask, Pennywise. She does like a lot of great stuff. Like I said, I'm going to be posting the link for her, so be sure to check her out both on YouTube and Instagram when I do so. Again, name Lipstick and Roses. Cosplay. I think it's cosplay on the end of it. Let me double check that. Okay, just Lipstick and Roses from what I say. So the next one we have to keep in sort of the theme of clowns. We have a Harley Quinn version of Pennywise. And this cosplayer's name is Lainey Finney. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. If you're watching, feel free to let me know and make sure that I'm pronouncing that right. Because as anybody will tell you in my streams, I have a big thing with mispronouncing anyone's name. Because I feel like, you know, it's like wildly disrespectful. And if I need correcting, please do so. But she's another awesome cosplayer. Like one of my favorites. Like she does Supergirl, things like that, like Pennywise. She did a female Freddy Krueger as well. This one is one of her horror ones that really stood out to me. I really love every time I see this on my feed. So I'll definitely be leaving a link for her Instagram as well. She also has a YouTube channel as well. So definitely be sharing all that stuff. So your fiance makes a tiny appearance in the pic you sent. Oh, nice, nice. Just wanted to mention you finished your Freddy vs. Jason cosplay and currently working on part 6. Nice, nice play. Did you send pictures to share as well? All right, so then we'll move on to the next one to keep again in line with the clowns. Clown fetish this week. We got Sandy making another appearance in the share, which I've shared her before. Normally I believe it was Huntress that I shared, if I'm not mistaken. But I'll be sharing again her Instagram as well, doing her female version of the clown from Dead by Daylight. Definitely knocking that out. I love the little glowing, swirling line around her too. That looks awesome. So I'll let you guys take a look. I mean, all of her costumes are great. She did a couple of, I think if she did a couple of Huntress ones. She's got a picture with her as Nia, I believe. With her with a life-size locker that looks really fucking good too. I was gonna share that, but this gotta point to the right way. I keep thinking everything's like flipped because my screen is over here that has everything that I'm sharing, but over here is where it is on my OBS. But yeah, she does a Nia with a life-size locker as well. And it was a toss-up between this and that, and I absolutely love this. So again, that'd be Sandy. Want to pronounce the last name? Misaki? Sandy Misaki? So again, Sandy, if I am butchering it, please correct me and let me know how it's pronounced. I don't want to disrespect you guys by getting your name wrong at all. What's going on, Pugster? Where's the bandana? It's gone tonight. Got the new cut, Matt. All right. So then next up, we got Rava, which I know you guys are tired of me saying it, but I get desperately self-conscious about that. I believe that's how the name is pronounced. But we got Rava here, cosplaying as the Wraith from Dead by Daylight as well. Which they got an awesome page as well. Feel free to check them out once I put the link up. Links will be on the community tab for the YouTube channel, as well as in the JG Darhk Hordes of Horror page. So definitely feel free to check them out once I post links for pretty much on both things. Oh, thank you, Pugster. Thank you. And then we got to end off our Dead by Daylight cosplays. I believe that's a mask, Paris, for the Wraith cosplay. But next we got Karen Foulon as the nurse. Let me shrink that a bit so that way you guys can see the whole thing in all of its glory. And she knocks the nurse out of the park. As soon as I saw a picture of her as the nurse, instantly, was an instant share. I had to do it. So definitely feel free to check her out. Her name is Karen Foulon. Make sure I'm pronouncing that. Yep, Karen Foulon. Oh, the Devons are always fighting. One way or another. But yeah, definitely feel free to check all of them out. And next, where did I happen to slip those pictures for you guys? Okay, I got you. I know where my other pictures are. For some reason, it flipped up a folder on me. So then next up, we got from Nightmare. Oh, let me blow that up a bit so you guys can see that. We got his Army of Darkness chainsaw, Necronomicon. And I believe, isn't that the armor Ash wears near the end of the movie as well? Nightmare? It definitely looks spot on with the Necronomicon and the chainsaw. Like, definitely. And, like, the armor looks definitely spot on from what I remember as well. It's been a while since I watched Army of Darkness, though. So I have to kind of reserve judgment on that just from a critical standpoint and not sound like a kiss ass, if that makes any sense. Armor's not done yet. Okay. Okay. All right, and I will also be sharing Nightmare's pages as well. Nightmare, feel free, if you figured out how to grab the link for your group, feel free to share it in here as well. Let some of these people know where you're at. And then, to end it off, we got Paris making his return to the sharing. So I'm guessing the girl to your, I guess your left, my right. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I guess it's over here. The girl over here, that's your fiance? Because that is the only person I see. Or is the person in the front row? I didn't even notice the person in the front row. But we got Paris in his Ash versus the Evil Dead cosplay. Which, every time I see that, man, I just think of all the updates that you did when you were keeping me in the loop when I first started streaming, telling me every single thing that you were going through, putting that together. Absolutely amazing. Seeing like how far you came with it. That's awesome. Bottom right. Gotcha. Yeah, because like the first person I saw was the one person to your side. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, if that's his fiance, why is she Evil Dead themed? And then I saw the person down here. Like, oh, okay. I got you. But yeah, guys, that will do it for this week of the Share Edition. Share segment. The JG Dark live stream. Again, I'll be sharing things next Tuesday as well. Not all going to be Evil Dead related, but I'm trying to slip some here and there in. And for some reason, the Dead by Daylight stuff just grabs me. Always nice to see a ton of Dead by Daylight stuff. But all those people that I shared, feel free to check out all of their pages. I'll be leaving links in the community tab of the YouTube channel, and along with the pictures I shared on the JG Dark Hordes of Horror Facebook group page. I'll be sharing all that there as well. So if you're not a member, make sure you are trying to get over there and check them out. Like, I mean, jump over there, do something. Get on the Discord, do something. Make sure you hit the like button. Share this shit. Subscribe twice. Hit the notification bell. Hit the motherfucking notification bong. Is there a bong? Not bong, gong. What the fuck am I talking about? Start getting in my own head. Like, what the fuck am I talking about? Bong? No. The bong is what Amanda does with the thing when I call her Panda. That's a bonk. I'm all fucked up. Oh my gosh. Alright. So we got the music down. Oh, don't worry, Nightmare. If you can't post it here, I'll definitely be posting it on the community tab and the Hordes of Horror page. Notification bong. It was a slip of the tongue, Ty. No, I think one of the things you could probably do, Nightmare, is when you go onto the page itself, just copy the URL, sort of the address in your browser, and just drop the link in here. That works just as well. A bong is what you smoke pot out of. Fair enough. That's why I said, like, I don't know what the hell's going on. I think the quarantine and the hunger might be starting. I mean, I'm not starving, but I've noticed I'm a hell of a lot hungrier than I have been, like, doing these fucking streams. Quarantine definitely might start to be getting to me. Click the notification bong. Oh, don't worry, Devin. We're going to be doing Jason costumes as well. All right. So I'm not even sure if I put up my poster yet. So we're going to click over to the commentary channel. And then hopefully got a nice little bit of poster art for you. Let's click it. Oh, we do. Actually, nice. Very nice. You're not you when you're hungry. Apparently so. Didn't like what I said about Michael JG. No, it's not I didn't like it. I just don't... I think it takes away from the character. For those that don't know, Anthony messaged me on Instagram. Was asking me about the scene in Jason Takes Manhattan where Jason looks up at the billboard and sees the hockey mask on the billboard and kind of has his head tilt and reacts to it. Asked me if essentially it would be funny if Michael did, or what would happen if Michael did the same thing. And my response is, which I still very much subscribe to, is I wouldn't want Michael in that particular situation where he's looking at something that has the same mask as him and reacting in a comical way, especially in this new timeline that is supposed to sort of show Michael as this dreadful character. You can't break that tension of every time he's on screen to give us some sort of levity within his character. And then on top of the motivation behind his character, if he's instinctual, he's reactive to everything around him as a hunter, a killer, sort of like a wild animal, just instinctually reacting and killing to certain things. Him looking, because there was another thing where Anthony suggested maybe they could have Halloween 4 or something on the TV and Michael walk by and look at it and keep walking. I wouldn't even want that. I wouldn't want Michael reacting to anything on TV, especially if it involves him, because then that kind of suggests a level of vanity to the shape that should not be there. And that kind of rubs me the wrong way with how Halloween and John Carpenter's original vision has been laid out. So it's not that I don't like it. If you were doing this in a resurrection timeline, maybe, because that, like I said, that was done with Busta Rhymes when they came face to face and Busta Rhymes was wearing the same costume and Michael sort of had that kind of reaction there. The only problem is you minimize the character of Michael Myers by letting Busta Rhymes yell at him and telling him get his ass back to where Tyra Banks was. I mean, ultimately he ended up killing her, but it still minimized the shape in a way that he should have never been minimized. Ever. At all. But that's one of the reasons, like, that was one of the things why I put on the community tab. Like, if you guys want me to go into very similar to what Horrorboy does, where he does live streams and gets into topics. Like, I think one of his last live streams, we were talking about Evil Dead for a good portion of everything going on. And I was thinking, like, you know what? I could get into some really good conversations with you guys on live streams discussing per movie timelines, topics, and stuff like that. And that could lend itself to some really, really good content. And obviously, you guys spoken. I think as of right now, we got 40 votes and 98% wants me to start doing it. So definitely, I'm going to be jumping into those very, very, very soon. My guess, we're likely going to start with the thing that kind of got that whole aspect started with me. We're going to be starting with the topic of Halloween 2018 and Blumhouse's timeline in general. So that will be coming this week. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Thursday, maybe Friday. We'll see. But it definitely will be coming. Fun fact, Ash was in a poker game. I remember that. I do remember that. How about a Friday the 13th movie and Halloween Kills? Unlikely. Because with that, you would need to get permission to use whatever Friday the 13th movie that you are wanting to put into Halloween Kills. Very unlikely given the current circumstances of the rights battle. Because someone's got to get paid in order to use that movie. And that is where we're at with the legal battle. We need to figure out the monetary percentage of everything to really hammer out what can be used, what can't be used, and so forth. Holy shit, I didn't even realize we're already a half an hour in. We did the share everything and fucking haven't even gotten to the movie yet. Part 7 Jason versus Part 1 Freddy Krueger. I mean, if you're able to pull Part 1 Freddy out of the dream world, I would go with Part 7 Jason. The dream world, Freddy is essentially a god. But the whole thing is, I don't believe, and I thought it was bullshit, which that will be something that we go diving into in a stream of its own as well. I thought it was bullshit. Utter fucking bullshit that they allowed Jason to go into the dream world when he's supposed to be dead. Even when he died, supposedly, after Jason Goes to Hell, if you consider everything canon, and Jason Goes to Hell happens before Freddy versus Jason. Jason is in hell, and Freddy's still able to go into the dream world and use the dream world to wake him up. He can't be in hell because he's obviously dreaming. How do you resurrect someone in hell when you can't even, like, it just didn't make sense. Like, but that's something we're going to go deep diving into as well. All right, we're good. We're going to get started here. Assuming all you guys have your copies of Army of Darkness at the ready. For those watching on Twitch, Mixer, Facebook, Periscope, whatever platform that you happen to be watching me on, for you guys, the way these streams work for the commentaries, I obviously cannot play the video on screen due to copyright issues. So what I need from you guys is to have your copy of the movie ready. I normally go with the theatrical. Sometimes I'll go with the director's cut, which I'll let you guys know if I do that. But we will have to sync up our movies together by me giving a countdown. I'll start from 5. Once I reach 0, I'll say, or 1, and then play. I'll say play, you'll hit play, we'll hit play together, and our movie should be synced up enough to where if I make mention of anything on the movie, it should match up with yours. Hopefully. Well, I mean, we'll see. But That's typically how it works, unless it's like fan films that I have permission to use, like when we did Never Hike Alone. Then I can play that on screen and we can all watch it together and I give a commentary. Or if it's public domain, like once we get to Night of the Living Dead and stuff like that, that I'll be able to watch on screen with you guys as well. What days are the discussion streams? I haven't decided yet. Mostly because it's new content that I wasn't originally intending to do. But I'm probably... I'll let you guys know the day I do them. I already have a thumbnail made up of it. And I am trying to figure out the exact format of how I want to do it. Like, do I just dive right in? Wait for you guys to jump in? Or do I have a preset program of things I want to talk about just in case we might run into an issue where everyone starts having internet power outages or we don't get as many people in chat as we normally do. So that way I'm not sitting here silent waiting for people to join and then just ultimately making a couple of comments to myself. I want some kind of format that is not solely reliant on chat interaction, just in case that happens, but also lends itself to where I can deviate from and have chat interact with if they're here. That is ultimately the goal. Now, I didn't know that, Ty. With Tolkien's grandson, I did not know that. Got your boomstick saw and necro ready to go. Nice, nice, nice. Is Friday the 13th crossplay? As from what I heard, no, it's not. I wish it would be, but it's not. I don't know if I'm going to be going that far, Ty. With all the remakes of Night of the Living Dead, I'm going to really section it to just the Romero films for that particular series, and then to the Russo films for the second part of that series. JG told him I'm the real Devin. I'm going to need to see some identification. And then after that, if you guys want, then maybe I'll start checking out all the terrible, terrible remakes. When will we go into the Universal Monsters territory? Probably closer to October. That's what I'm thinking. Your son wants to play with me. Oh, shit. What platform do you guys play on, Pugster? Because, again, if you play on PC, feel free to shoot me a friend request. Or Xbox. Granted, I know I had some people friend request me on Xbox. And I have yet to really play with them. That's mostly because I very rarely play on Xbox anymore. I've been mostly jumping over straight to PC. I do play Xbox from time to time. Like last night I was playing on it, but I wasn't playing Dead by Daylight or Friday the 13th or anything. I was just checking out some sports games that I got for free. So I was just checking that out. Oh, PS4. Shit. Again, it's the only system I don't have. Yeah, I'm not sponsored, but if Pepsi wants to shoot me have a case of these things, I wouldn't be mad. Hey Aaron, how you doing? My first language is French. So sorry for the background. Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. You're absolutely fine. Trust me, we've had people from Brazil in here. We've had people from China, Korea, and most of them honestly just type out their own language. Or the English is so broken that you kind of got to piece it together. So we're kind of used to it. Like, we're fine. And judging by the sentence I see you pretty much came in here with, you look like you're going to be good, my friend. Play DBD Saturday? I probably intend to, especially with the rift so close to closing. I need to get at least because I have the head part of the clown elephant suit. I want the rest of the body, and I'm fairly close. And I did finally get to the red ranks. I'm like rank 4, so definitely want to try to keep that going. But all right, guys, we're about to get into it. I've killed your time more than enough. So before we get into it, make sure you guys are hitting the like button below to make sure that you are getting notified. What the fuck is wrong with my English today? Notified. You know what? Fuck it. Notified. We're going with notified from here on out. Hashtag notified. Make sure you are hitting the like button down below to make sure you are still getting notified of all of these live streams and all future content as well. And if you have not subscribed yet, be sure to do so and share as well. Let's get all your friends in here. Let's grow the family bit by bit as we keep going. We have just hit, I think I told you guys over the weekend, we did hit over 1,500 subscribers, and I want to thank all you guys for being a part of that. There's going to be a lot of new stuff coming, especially with the discussion streams, because that's going to lend itself into a lot of theory territory and ultimately storytelling territory. I am going to be doing, as Ty even suggested, story time stuff, like where I'm going to read things like Dracula, and I'm going to that's not going to be live stream, that's actually going to be recorded. And I'll be doing parts of that, like Dracula, maybe Candyman, maybe Hellbound Heart, and stuff like that. And as long as you guys are like into it, I'll keep pumping them out. The Darhk theories never going away. I'm actually planning, once we get into the book readings, to extending the Darhk theory stuff to books. Maybe comics as well, treating each comic series as its own canon, such as Friday the 13th's comic series, and doing theories on that as its own separate canon away from the movies. Like a ton of stuff going through the head that we're going to be getting into. Which what kind of proposal you got, Paris? Right now, Aaron, America is on quarantine, so it's not that fun. Outside of quarantine, I mean, granted, I haven't exactly been globe hopping. I haven't been to other countries. I've been like up and down the East Coast, but I haven't been to other countries. And I mean, for the most part, depending on where you're at, it's pretty fun. You can find fun things to do. Technically, Ty, you would be right with John Russo on Children of the Living Dead, but I'm talking about the Return of the Living Dead series with the trioxin. So if they're not brought back with the gas, chances are I'm not covering it as part of the John Russo series. Story time sounds like something for little kids. I mean, considering some of the stories that that I'll likely be reading, that comment you may have to take back. Especially once I get to the Hellbound Heart. Oh, yeah, definitely, Paris. Definitely. So who gets the most kills? I mean, we can definitely do it. But all right. So I got my movie queued up. I got my sound down so you guys can't hear the movie, hopefully. Um, Hopefully you guys have your movies queued up. I don't think... Is there any other version of Army of Darkness that would extend it? Is there an extended version? Because right now, I don't think mine is extended. It's about an hour, 20 minutes runtime, roughly. So hopefully if you guys have an alternate version, it's not off too badly. Will you punch me to start the film? I mean, if I got to. But all right, we will begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. Which, I mean, does Universal own the rights to Ash vs. Evil Dead? Or is that owned by someone else? Because, I mean, I see the Universal logo at the beginning of the movie. I obviously know they didn't have the Universal logo at the beginning of the first one. And they definitely didn't have it at the beginning of the second one. See, that Paris, you could actually repurpose your Jason X chains by doing the whole thing where Ash at the beginning of Army of Darkness. You just have to have someone like leading you around on a chain dressed as a knight. That'd be pretty cool. Like if you were able to do that with a bunch of friends, I was like pretty much all following behind you. Are we going to watch it? Unfortunately, Lucas, we can't. I can't have the movie on screen. Which is why I said I had to do the countdown and have you guys put in your own copies for us to synchronize our copies together. Due to copyright issues. It's funny they give you a quick scene of the book's look from Evil Dead 2, but the book, it changes in this one. Hey, Kat, you be nice to Stream Elements. I'm just trying to make sure I get as many subscribers as possible. See, it kind of even changed when the entity kind of goes through and grabs them up at the beginning of the first one. So essentially, aside from some scenes here and there, technically, isn't every single movie practically a reboot because of the changing hands and companies? Granted, everything that happened prior supposedly already happened. They just had to reboot it in a way that allowed them to slip past the copyright issues. Have to hire Mr. Beast to get subscribers. I don't know, my kids were talking about Mr. Beast. I mean, I don't know if I've got my head in the sand or not. But I actually don't know who that is. So you're back, you had to eat food. Hey, what's going on, Brandon Salon? How you doing? Ash loses the white stripes in the hair. I've noticed that too. Because, I mean, technically, this retconned the whole end of Evil Dead 2. Like, when he drops down from time. Like, going back in time. Which kind of makes me think every version of Evil Dead we've gotten, Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, all are different takes on the same character, but are ultimately different universes. Which, in that regard, that means even Ash versus the Evil Dead could be a different universe as well. So technically, we could have 4 Ashes out there. Because, I mean, that would kind of explain the continuity issues from movie to movie that we get. Granted, for the average moviegoer, that would be wildly fucking confusing. Oh, that'd be awesome, Ty. Like, if he was to actually do that with me, I definitely... I don't know how I'd react to something like that. Could Goblin do the soundtrack for Friday the 13th Part 13? I mean, technically, it's up to anybody. How would I rank the Freddy designs from the first 5 films? I think that's something I'd want to do like a discussion on with that. Because my favorite look for Freddy is between, I'd probably say, Part 2 and maybe Part 4. Like, I like them in Part 3, but I think Part 2 and Part 4's looks, he looked pretty scary as. Part 2, though, edging out as, like, to me, the scariest look for him. Because it actually looked naturally burned. His shotgun got longer, just like my ween. Well, I mean, his shotgun was cocked. Yeah, and did so with pretty much a good mind and like with that, Nicholas. Because I mean, now thinking about with every single continuity change, it kind of lends itself to that. Like we didn't even get where Ash blew the head off the one Deadite, and they looked at him as the chosen one. Hey, what's going on, Zachary? You're not J.G. Wentworth. Well, I mean, I'm not. I mean, but we can work this as you send me money. It's my money and I want it now. I do anything for you? No? All right. I understand. I'm just going to turn over here. Ash has been into the Marvel and Reanimator universe. And Ash has been killed in the Marvel universe. If I remember correctly, in one of the Marvel Zombies comics, there was 2 different Ashes. One got his brains eaten by Howard the Duck. Do I have any Evil Dead props? Not yet. I have a NECA Ash figure, and I have the Necronomicon DVD case for the first Evil Dead. Mostly my stuff went to me collecting first for my Friday the 13th stuff, then Halloween, then Freddy, and now pretty much going across the board. My favorite Evil Dead media is the show. Because when I watch something like how like Evil Dead progressed into what it became with this, to me, 3 seasons of a TV show of this Ash, even older, is a hell of a lot better than an hour and a half that we would get in a theater, in my mind. And they didn't have to hold back on blood, gore, kills, anything because it was straight to TV. It was like I think it was on Stars, wasn't it? If I remember right. So they didn't have to go through the MPAA and get censored to fucking oblivion. So for me, for something like that, I prefer the TV shows. Yeah, I'll start looking into all that Paris and Nightmares as far as like anything Evil Dead related. I'll start looking into that once I finish Freddy. Right now, all my attention is on Freddy. But I'll definitely keep you guys in mind. What's going on, Machete? How you doing? Although, you know, the one thing that I pretty much am very much surprised that Sam Raimi never tried to do. Granted, like, Evil Dead was partially his creation. Um, what I'm very surprised of is that Sam Raimi never decided to do an Ash going back in time again and meeting like Xena or Hercules, since Sam Raimi also worked on those too. Could you imagine that in Ash versus Evil Dead? If that was a season they did a crossover with fucking Xena and shit like that. But doing it in the Ash versus the Evil Dead way, not holding back on gore, giving us a gory fucking Xena or Hercules episode. Sort of, because you would have to kind of set that in a different world for those shows too, if you were going to do that, because anybody that watched those shows knows how they ended. Oh, you're all good, Jonas. You're all good. Welcome to the stream, my friend. Because, I mean, if you look at the camera work in this and Ash versus the Evil Dead, they did mimic a hell of a lot of what they did in Hercules and Xena, which was pretty much originated from the Evil Dead films and then carried over to those shows too. And you already had Lucy Lawless. Like Ty just said, Lucy Lawless is rather juicy. But pretty much you already had Lucy Lawless. And I have no doubt that Sam Raimi could have got her a costume. And they could have just filmed it in fucking the woods somewhere and had Ash meet Xena fighting Deadites. How awesome would that have been? And Ash thinking the whole time that she's fucking Ruby. Or that she is Ruby. Not that she's fucking Ruby. Although that would be interesting in itself, though. Oh, you're good, Jonas. You're good. You're good. I mean, we can understand what you're saying. So that's completely fine. You're ultimately good, Jonas. Half the people in America don't even speak English properly. So I mean, you're doing quite well. That's unfortunate, Machete. I mean, could you imagine, Ty, how much fan service that would have been? Because I'm wondering why the Deadites are able to be out in daylight here when they established in Evil Dead 2 that it kind of drives the evil away. Very funny, Devin. Very funny. Maybe Xena is Ruby. What if Ruby took over Xena's body? Like she didn't have an actual physical body because she was a demonic entity. But she took over Xena's body, and that's how they kind of make that work. That's gotta be one of the funniest things in there. Like when you just like whip your belt at a fucking chain and it like latches for you to like go up. Why even do the belt thing anyways? Why not just grab onto the fucking chain? Like at least because there's literally no reason to do the belt thing because you're not going up any higher because of the belt. And you stand more of a chance of the belt coming loose and you falling back down and getting shish kebab by the fucking spikes. Oh, you're good, Jonas. Like I said, you're good. You're good. I can understand everything you're saying. I can piece everything together. I remember being in the theaters watching this and seeing this scene had me fucking dying. Like, you. Huh? But Ash here looks straight up intimidating. Like, he doesn't have that intimidating feel to him in Ash versus the Evil Dead, but here he has it. Because, I mean, Ash is kind of a buffoon on here. But at the same time, he's still pretty intimidating because he's a fighter. He's a survivor. And Ash versus the Evil Dead, he's flat out buffoon. He has some fighter in him, but he's flat out buffoon and he's not intimidating at all. They really leaned in heavily on how Bruce Campbell played himself in My Name is Bruce. Hey, what's going on, Terry? How you doing? I see you. I would hope so. My camera's working. Granted, I don't have the Jason nipples on, but I try to be just as entertaining. Somewhat. Who would have thought that line alone would have lasted the test of time? Like, this is my boomstick. Oh no, my Pepsi has a flat. At least to me. Let's see, the Deadite pretty much knew to climb up through the chain. Which again, why are the Deadites able to be out in the daylight? Like, did they ever mention that on here? Or is it just like our understanding that they might be more powerful back then? Shake it up, drink it. I mean, I'll take a drink of it. I ain't gonna shake it up though. I don't like flat soda. I mean, it's good for me. Which movie? Which ending of the movie? What movie ending do I have on this copy, Nicholas? I believe it's the original theatrical one. I mean, if you want Jonas, if you feel a little off trying to type out things, what I would probably say do is use Google Translate into English and then put in your stuff like that. I mean, as far as floating deadites, that'd probably be the least scariest of the bunch. I fucking backhand Ash. No, the alternate version is not my version. Well, I mean, when did the Deadites, like the way Ash fought her off? This was like literally the first time he was able to have his way with the Deadite like that, which kind of I don't want to say it kind of degrades their threat, but like considering the issues he had with Henrietta and a lot of the issues he has with Deadites in Ash vs. Evil Dead, just having his issue, like literally no issue with that Deadite there aside from getting backhanded. I don't know if that's supposed to speak to how Ash has adapted to the whole situation or just that was a weak Deadite. I mean, that'd be a good question, Ty. Shit, I didn't see your last comment, Machete. I'm not even seeing it on here. Last thing I thought I saw from you was when you said about Endgame being fan service. Part 3, Jason versus Part 2, Michael. I mean, like I said in my video, it really much depends on the situation. If Michael is hunting someone and it takes him in the crosshairs of Jason, where Jason can stalk him and essentially get the drop on him, Jason stands a really good chance. If it's the other way around, and Michael is able to get the drop on Jason, or I'd even say Part 3 Jason and Michael in hand-to-hand, that could be very, very, very much in Michael's favor if it's close quarters. If Jason has the spear gun, however, he may be able to injure Michael to an extent that Michael may not be able to recover quick enough before Jason is able to decapitate or possibly even dismember Michael's body. Hey, what's going on, Emily? Getting a lot of people from across seas. How you guys doing tonight? About to turn this into JG Darhk International. Oh, you're finished too. Okay. Well, nice to meet you, Emily. Glad you are part of the stream, and I greatly appreciate you being here. Now, can you understand me, though? That is the question. Okay, I see what you said. I should have said that. Oh no, this is my boomstick thing. That's way too iconic. Oh, you have a good night, Nightmare. Glad to share some of your stuff. I mean, can they see the entity? Because, I mean, we're supposed to be under the impression that the entity is invisible. But there's been more than one scene in the series where it seems like they can see the entity coming for them. Hey, what's going on, Benson? Unfortunately, I do not understand that language, but I am glad you're here. Oh, no problem, Nightmares. No problem. Definitely looking forward to share some more. Alright, you mean to tell me the entity itself can split fucking trees down the fucking middle, but it can't move Ash and break through that fucking door? Like, come on. Like, did it lose all of its strength? Like, splitting the trees, though? I mean, or is it just fucking with Ash mentally? Like, why run into the mirror, though? This led into one of my favorite scenes when I was a kid. Oh, Latina. Okay, I got you. Can you understand me at all, Benson? Would have been nice for Ash to keep one of them as a pet. I mean, given the current predicament with everyone being on lockdown and the pandemic going on play, it wouldn't surprise me. Ooh. Oh. Uh. Does he even get a burn mark from that? That always had me dying. Hey, now, you guys be nice. Be nice now. Can I let my internals screaming out in the chat message real quick? I mean, feel free. Go for it, Brett. As long as it's decent, to say the least. Like, don't violate any decency rules as far as things go. All right, I've never heard of him, Ty. Looks like he has a vagina on his shoulder. Well, I realize Evil Ash's shirt is a whole lot bluer. How the hell did that exactly work, anyways? Like, I get the whole Evil Ash from the mirror thing because it was his reflection jumping out, and the little ashes, like, jumping out their little mirrors. But how the hell did this Ash get his clothes? Like, he came out of Ash's body. So was he, like, fully dressed? Or is this a Jason Goes to Hell situation? Bleeding Edge, are you going to play? I have not decided that yet. I know the main thing I'm looking at now, obviously, still playing Dead by Daylight. Still planning to get into Friday the 13th again. Resident Evil 3, once that comes out, definitely planning on playing. Project Resistance, I think it is. Resident Evil Resistance. Definitely plan on playing that. Predator, definitely planning to play that as well. Got his clothes from Saturn like Beetlejuice. That's fucked up. Like, what's that you got on your face? Huh? Like, throw the dirt on him. Show toes? I haven't gotten them super chats yet, cat. You gotta pay for something like that. Can James Franco play Ash in a remake? Honestly, I would not have anybody play Ash. Never. Like, the way I would do it is like I did in my story concept. If I was ever going to revisit Evil Dead, where I wanted Ash to be a part of it in some way, I would go back to the first movie and have Ash die at the end. And only have him maybe being a ghost. Haunting the woods around the cabin. But I would never recast Ash. Because it's much like how you hear with people with Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. Like, nobody wants anybody but Robert Englund playing Freddy, but the only problem with that is A Nightmare on Elm Street, they either want Freddy Krueger or nothing. They want Robert Englund or nothing. You can't have it both ways. Do I agree that Pennywise can kill Freddy? I honestly do not. I don't think Pennywise can. Because one, Pennywise would have to go into the dreamscape, which in the dream world, Freddy arguably holds as much power as Pennywise. Then on top of that, Pennywise would have to make Freddy afraid in order to really draw power off of him. Freddy, in his original incarnation, did not necessarily need fear for that. He got screams, and screams made him powerful. But he didn't need to get that from individual people. He pretty much gathered that until he started collecting souls. Once he started collecting souls, that gave him a much different level of power. Pennywise, for those that didn't watch It Too, was beaten by harsh language. Freddy, it took like a lot more than that. If you put Pennywise against Freddy in the dreamscape, I guarantee to you Freddy's winning that. Have it take place in the future, and instead of Ash, it's Ash's grandson. I honestly wouldn't even want to do that. Just because, again, I don't like making worlds smaller. Doing the whole legacy thing, because Ash, prior to Evil Dead, was nobody. His family was no one. What made Ash so special? And then on top of it, what made Ash so special, but also made Cheryl so insignificant? And then what would make Ash's grandson so special after that? Like, because it can't be blood, because Cheryl and him shared the same blood. But Cheryl died just like everyone else. Like, honestly, I would move completely away from the Ash character. I wouldn't want anybody related to him. I would want to move on. Maybe make reference to him to records, but I would not want to shrink your own universe by having it, okay, it's the grandson. Then after the grandson is on, it's Ash's great, 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 great grandson, and so forth like that. It gets extremely convoluted. Freddy has been scared by Jason, well, in the real world. He wasn't scared, he was intimidated. He was intimidated by Jason because of knowing who Jason was, being inside Jason's head, and knowing that being in the real world ultimately meant that he's in a fight for his life. But when it came down to it, Freddy was shanking Jason like I was the zombies on my Resident Evil 3 video. Like, he had no fucks given. He was stabbing the fuck out of Jason. And he was having fun fighting him. So he wasn't scared of him at all. He had that momentary realization that, oh shit, he's here. And then after that, he went right for him. Pennywise was bullied. Yeah, he was. In a big way. Freddy would whoop Pennywise's too. Pretty much, yeah. So I just think continue with Kelly, Brandy, and Pablo. I mean, you could. That is most certainly an option. But you would have to let fans know flat out, from here on out, there is no Ash. And that is something that I think a lot of people are going to get frustrated with. You do anything Evil Dead related with Ash still on the board to some extent, they're going to want Ash at some point. And if Bruce Campbell's willing to come back in a cameo, then yeah, definitely go for it. Let him go 3-4 seasons of a TV show. Give them Kelly, Brandy, and Pablo. Have them doing their shit with the Necronomicon, all the Deadites and everything. And then have a payoff in the last season or just a season in general where Ash shows up and then Ash finally dies. And the reins to the Evil Dead franchise is properly handed over to them. That's one way you could do it. Ghost Jason versus Part 6 Jason. I would probably go with Part 6 Jason. I think Part 6 Jason, him being almost incapable of being hurt, gives him much more of an edge over Ghost Jason, who was shown to be hurt by an axe to the neck. Hey, can you give me a shout out? Well, I most certainly can, Jenny. Everybody, say hi and welcome to Jenny Tells. I'm keeping it PG. I see that, Terry. I see. Do I think Scream 5 will make fun of franchises? I think Scream 5 will likely be a flat-out slasher. I don't think it's going to be super humorous. I think it'll have some humor elements in it, but I think they're going to try to take it extremely seriously. So the whole thing is, like, he cut up Evil Ash, and Evil Ash still obviously wasn't dead. And then lightning strikes it from him taking the book and puts the body back together. Should that have also have resurrected every other Deadite in the immediate vicinity of that? Oh no, I wouldn't touch that title tie at all. I wouldn't touch Evolution at all. You're going to have every fan that is also an anime fan ultimately think of Dragon Ball Evolution. and you're going to lose half your audience just with the title. And plus, I mean, evolution is a overused kind of tagline anyways. I would kind of want to get something a little bit more creative than that. Honestly, I wouldn't even call it Evil Dead. I mean, you could go with Ghost Beaters from there on. That are the Ghost Beaters versus the Army of Darkness. Because ultimately, all three of them together would be the Ghost Beaters. So you would want that somewhere in the title to try to really incorporate their group. Granted, it's still Evil Dead and it's still in the Evil Dead wheelhouse, but you also want to make sure you connect it to the TV show and really make it to where the fans of the TV show can ultimately recognize it. Ghost Beaters versus the Evil Dead. That could work too. Tommy Jarvis versus Daryl Dixon. Daryl all the way. Daryl would murder Tommy Jarvis. That's just what we call pillow talk, baby. Matter of fact, once I get off here, I'm going to watch Bubba Hotep. I've been meaning to watch it. I have never seen Bubba Hotep before. Never. I thought I did, and then I saw a trailer for it, and I realized I've never watched Bubba Hotep before. I'm going up and watching it right after this. Just because, fuck it, it's Bruce Campbell night. Special cameo by Jason Nips. That's going to be my stage name, Terry. When it's not JG Dark, it's Jason Nips. Or we just call him J Nips for short. Sarah Connor versus Daryl. If we're talking where they have their weapons, I'd probably go with Sarah. But if we're talking hand-to-hand combat, I'm going with Daryl. Heidi Klum as Megan. I mean, maybe, but would she actually do it, though? Plus, I kind of like Vincente DeSantis' whole reasoning of not having Megan and Tommy together. Which I don't know if you've seen that yet, Ty. His interview with Slash and Cass. I believe that was the interview he made mention of that. Like, this is so Sam Raimi right here. It's like a higher budgeted version of Xena or Hercules. JG as Ash in remake. If I could act, I would probably go for it, but I would think I would be terribly miscast. I don't look like Bruce Campbell at all, and I don't act like Bruce Campbell at all. Be fun to be a Deadite, though. I could definitely go for a Deadite. Especially to put the makeup on and everything. Oh, that'd be so nasty. Like, what are they doing with the girls, though? They said they got plans for them, but what the fuck are they doing with them? Bruce Campbell. Nice to meet you. What's going on, Not Ross? And what is going on, Schizo? How you guys doing? We are currently 49 minutes and 30 seconds into Army of Darkness. If you guys want to pop in your movies and join the rest of us, at least for some of us that are watching. Now's the time to get your acting chops. I mean, I got nothing else to do during the quarantine but, like, fucking practice lines. So, I mean, we can do it. Sam Raimi directs Spider-Man versus Evil Dead. That would be interesting to see, too. Which, again, in Marvel Zombies, when Ash goes to the Marvel Zombies universe, I believe there is a particular scene on there where the Deadites are awoken to fight the Marvel Zombies. They get utterly fucking decimated. And I believe at some point in time, the Incredible Hulk, a zombie version of the Hulk, wipes his ass with pages of the Necronomicon. But that is a thing. What if Roy was in Friday the 13th Part 6, but the real Jason still came back? I mean, would Roy have been a killer? Machete? Oh, no, Play. I'm looking at Machete's name. Would Roy still have been the killer? At least in Part 5. Oh, see, now you got my interest peaked, Terry. I'm definitely interested. Little surprise coming up. What did Vincente say about Tommy and Megan not being together? I believe it was something to the effect of Megan eventually wanted to move on from the entire thing with her father being killed by Jason and Tommy's obsession with Jason. Tommy could not let it go, at least in the Never Hike Alone world. He couldn't let it go. So it ultimately drove a rift between them, and she eventually moved on. She moved on. Like, she wasn't able to stay with Tommy because of his obsession with Jason. And that would have been early on, which, I mean, I wouldn't be able to blame someone like that. Like, I mean, your father was murdered by this undead killer. For all intents and purposes, you think the killer is dead. So you want to move on, especially out of the town where your father was brutally murdered by that killer. But the person you're with, that you have feelings for, decides he doesn't want to go anywhere. He wants to keep stalking the same area where your father was murdered and keep you in that same area with him. You would be in prison by nothing but sorrow, just because you're around that area and you don't feel a need to be around that area anymore. So it eventually drove a rift between them, and she moved on. Ash versus Daryl Dixon. Oh, that's a hard one. That's a hard one because as much as I love Ash, I don't think in a hand-to-hand combat situation, if Ash doesn't have his chainsaw, which even if he did, still doesn't give him a very big edge, I would still have to go with Daryl. Roy would have still have been killing. My guess is, unless my theory was correct, Play, and Roy turned out to be Jason's father, I don't think Jason would have had very much of a reaction outside of another victim. Personally. The bigger question would be, how would Roy react to Jason? Which I think Roy would probably be shocked. But then probably his psychosis would kick in, thinking that Jason was as much of an imposter as he was. And he would probably attack Jason and be killed. Hey, what's going on, Buzz? How you doing? How far are we? We are currently 54 minutes into the movie. I need to see identification from whoever the real Devin is. Yeah, I still gotta check those out, Buzz. Been loving the videos you've been putting up, by the way. Shouldn't the bridge have already been drawn at night? Just because they've had massive amounts of deadite infestations, I guess you could say. Hey, what's going on, Nick? How you doing? Welcome to the stream, my friend. So that's kind of why you had the ideas that Tommy and Megan are together, but Tommy decided to basically become Batman and train himself like Batman. Maybe to cope with Jason. He's an alcoholic. I mean, the thing with that is you would have to look at it. The reason why Batman was able to become Batman is because he's a millionaire that's able to travel around the world and get the necessary training. Tommy is an institutionalized psychopath that has escaped from the mental institution on supposedly more than one occasion. So, after part 6, it would stand to reason that nobody would have believed anybody that Jason was the killer of any of that. And given all of the run-ins that they had with Tommy Jarvis, even to a point of locking him in a cell, if we were going by logic, Tommy would have been arrested and charged for those murders and likely sent back to the mental institution for life. So that would, even with Megan's testimony, especially given the particular scene where they're in a high-speed chase and she ends up getting captured by her own father. From a logical standpoint, Tommy would have likely been charged for all of those murders and locked away for life, indicating that he would have never had the chance to travel and train. The only way that works is if Jason becomes public knowledge and Jason is officially to blame for those murders. That's a creative name. Like I instantly saw it and I just like that's funny. Someone's fucking with me on that one. Fook you? Really? Really? If you're not fucking with me, I apologize and fucking glad you're a part of the stream, but that is funny. Oh, really, Haley? Forced fusion? Oh, ghost children? What? I must know these things. See, it's like the Deadites on here, like the way they're reacting to things, it's too normalized. They're not exactly the same Deadites that we got from Evil Dead 2, Evil Dead 1, and even Ash versus the Evil Dead. The Deadites on here are extremely normalized, which is kind of weird. That's true, Ty, but then at the same time, even if she signs a release form, you're talking about someone who is charged with multiple murders, especially of cops. There's no release form to get you out of that. Like he's literally, if he's not institutionalized for being crazy, then he's going to be in prison and likely face the death penalty for murder. Those would be your two options. The only way he would be out in public is one, if Jason became public knowledge and they all knew that Jason was the reason for the murders, which then the town itself faces extreme criticism over allowing people to keep coming back to an area where an undead killer keeps reappearing. Or Tommy escapes. Damn you. This is, I'm not going to say it's getting out of hand, but it's getting pretty funny. Always thought after part 6 Tommy went into hiding. Well, I mean, there's no mention of Tommy in any of the films after part 6. Never Hike Alone pretty much has him as a paramedic, which would have to be that Jason is public knowledge. It would have to be in order for him to not be charged with anything if we're going by that canon. Especially after the New York incident. But after that, the only other appearance that we have about Tommy would be the Jarvis tapes from Friday the 13th, the game, which has him locked away. So he's either free or he's locked away. And the only way you're going to be free is only if you're the actual killer is considered public knowledge and you are exonerated of everything. These deadites are skeletons. I mean, yeah, but like still as far as deadites go, like when you look at the deadite deer head from Evil Dead 2 and all the inanimate objects, they still had the same deadite-like personality from 1 and 2, even though one was a lamp and shit like that. Here, they are like normal people. Like they retain a human personality. Where Ash versus the Evil Dead, they go back a little bit to what they were in Evil Dead 1 and 2. Maybe he was given a presidential pardon. It's unlikely. It's very unlikely for someone like Tommy to get that and not really. He would have to have so much press around him in order to get that to happen. Which, as we see from the other films, there is no mention of Tommy at all. Especially if we're supposed to consider Jason Goes to Hell canon. During the news report, if there was any time to indicate that Tommy existed, it would have been there. And they don't make a single mention of him. Basically, imagine a bunch of conjoined twins melting. That's dark. But I like it. Did I see Freddy vs. Jason in theaters? Yes, I did. What was the crowd reaction in the final battle? If I can remember right, there was a little bit of cheering. A little bit of cheering going on because people wanted to see Freddy get his ass whooped. But there was more of a reaction during the intro part when they showed the New Line logo and they had that little bit of the Bernstein theme, the Nightmare on Elm Street original theme, and they went into the Jason sound effect. Like that got a bigger reaction than anything else in the film. technically that wouldn't be accurate, Ty, because the pole that Jason used to kill a couple of the counselors had Tommy's fingerprints on it. If you remember right, he did use it to stab Jason multiple times. So that would have been evidence. They already pinned the murders on Tommy and likely did paperwork while Tommy was in his cell. So pretty much that would have been considered evidence as Tommy as well. Around the time Tommy escaped his cell and went back to Forest Green, all of a sudden you have a bunch of dead cops and other victims all around that camp. And given all of that collected together, that's pretty damning evidence against Tommy. It's not like they didn't have any to begin with to really put against him. Because, I mean, Megan's father had it out for Tommy at the beginning and pinned him as the killer. So all of his paperwork towards Tommy would have indicated as such. And then if you find the pole and you use the pole to dust for fingerprints and you find Tommy's fingerprints on it, that corroborates what Sheriff Garris was saying, at least in his paperwork. And Sheriff Garris is dead, so you don't have him to take that back. When the lightning bolt burn off the fingertips, maybe, possibly. I'm not entirely certain on that. But then you'd also have to look at the hockey mask too. The hockey mask would also... Well, no, because the hockey mask would have been in the water, so you don't have to worry about fingerprints on that. The big thing you would have to worry about is essentially Tommy being blamed for it from the sheriff itself and him being at the scene. Every single area that Tommy has been at, there has been death. And it wouldn't have been the first time. What about the kids' testimony? They probably wouldn't have been taken seriously. Especially back then, they wouldn't have been taken seriously. Given Tommy's history and knowing how violent Tommy is, especially if Pam's attack remains canon. Because supposedly he did attack Pam at the end of part 5. If he attacked her and tried to kill her, then chances are that ruined any credibility anybody else would have probably had kid-wise in saying that Tommy wouldn't have been the killer. How the hell did him burning Evil Ash turn him into a skeleton that quickly? How the fuck did his helmet still stay on? You have a good night, Deb. Oh, I remember you were saying something about that, Haley. Once it's done, definitely feel free to send me a link again so I can check it out. Especially once you get to chapter 2. Burned all of Evil Ash's clothes off, too. Notice my existence. What the fuck?
I love you, Daddy. Embarrass you on your stream like you did to my friend.
So how is it they blow up Evil Ash and that defeats the Deadites and that turns her back to normal? Like, how does that work? Nah, that was Bella. Nicholas. Abby is asleep. False alarm. I don't know, but it's never done that prior or after this. Like with Ash, or any form that the Deadites have taken. Why didn't he just take it there? While he knew the words. Like Klaatu Varata Necto. Why didn't he just do it right then and there? Why did he wait so long? And if he forgot it, why didn't he just go back to ask what the words were again? This wasn't like the Necronomicon situation where he was too far and under constant danger. Like, in regards to the alternate ending, I mean. I guess that's kind of one of the reasons why they dropped it, because it would have made no sense. But also, isn't that why the Deadites are in the present time too? Is because he misspeaks the words? But doesn't Ash versus the Evil Dead kind of retcon all of this at the end? Because he still had the robot. Yeah, he does have the robot hand. Wouldn't engineers want to know how the fuck he did that since we can't even do that now? See, and that's weird that they don't know who he is, because the moment the Deadites get resurrected in Ash versus Evil Dead, they instantly know who he is. Yeah, it's the armor glove. But consider the robotics and everything that he has in that thing for it to move the way he has it. Okay, we barely are scratching the surface of that kind of technology now, and it still doesn't work necessarily right. His shit is working fucking like naturally. But then again, I guess Pablo did put together a fucking power glove that does the same thing. With like fucking spare parts lying around fucking everywhere. But yeah, that was Army of Darkness. JG's bandana, the best waifu. You know what? I'm going to bring the bandana back. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Because I think if I remember right, Buzz, the original reasoning why they didn't have the metal glove was originally when they created Ash versus Evil Dead. They didn't have the rights to use Army of Darkness. So they technically kind of had to retcon it or make sly references to it, but not directly give any kind of connection to that film. I don't think they were able to use anything from Army of Darkness until season 3, I think. I think it was season 3. So pretty much with the first season, that's why you get a lot of references to part 1 and 2. They were able to use bits and pieces from those two films, but they weren't able to use Army of Darkness. As far as the book goes, the reason why the book constantly changes, at least from a production standpoint, is the maker of the books constantly wanted a copyright on the book itself. So they had to pay the person in order to use the book. And I think it was like so much money. I may be getting that completely fucked up. But from what I remembered hearing was that they constantly had new special effects teams make new books. Because it was less cost effective compared to the copyright. Might as well ask, when is the next stream? Tomorrow. Haven't picked the time yet. Haven't picked exactly what we're doing yet. Could be the discussion stream, could be Dead by Daylight. All right, but yeah, that was Ash. Well, yeah, Army of Darkness. I was about to say Ash versus the Army of Darkness, but no. But that's going to do it for me for the night. I'm getting hungry, so I'm going to go eat. I'm going to take my supposedly flat soda. I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to put on my bandana since it is waifu. It is the only waifu. I'm going to go ahead and put that on, and I am going to probably throw on some more horror shit and probably go to bed to it. Always nice to feel full from food and watch someone get eviscerated as you go to sleep, which is every horror fan's goal, I would assume. Hashtag fleshy hole. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I hope you guys have a good night. Stay safe. And I want to thank you guys for sticking out with me. Make sure you are hitting that like button as well as subscribing if you have not done so and hitting the notification bell. I was going to say something else, but I forgot the fucking thing that I said early on. So that way you're not missing any of these streams or what I said I had planned for the future. And I'll be back on tomorrow. I will see you guys then. Go feast, JG. I need to. I need to feast and get some sleep because this whole fucking thing has my sleep schedule completely fucked. But, as always, I am JG Darhk. And thanks for watching.
Don't ever laugh as a hearse goes by, for you may be the next to die. They wrap you up in bloody sheets to drop you 6 feet underneath. They put you in a pine wood box and cover you up with dirt and rocks. It all goes well for about a week, and then your coffin begins to leak, and the worms crawl in, the worms crawl out, the worms play pinochle on your snout. They eat your eyes, they eat your nose as you begin to decompose. A slimy beetle with demon's eyes chews through your stomach and out your sides. Your stomach turns to rancid grease, and pus pours out like melted cheese. You spread it on a slice of bread, and that's what you'll eat when you're dead. And the worms crawl out, the worms crawl in, the worms that crawl in are lean and thin, the ones that crawl out are fat and stout. Your eyes fall in and your hair falls out. Your brain turns into maggot pie. Your liver starts to liquefy. And for the living all is well as you sink further into hell. And the flames rise up to drag you down into the fire where you will drown. Your skin melts off as you descend, and Satan tears you limb from limb. Your suffering will never end. And the worms crawl in, the worms crawl out. They'll eat your guts and then shit them out. And when your bones begin to rot, the worms remain, but you do not. So don't ever laugh as a hearse goes by, for someday you'll be the one to die. And when death brings his cold despair, ask yourself, will any